Okay, so we're now going to look at some real life examples of mixed number expressions. So here's example 1, here's example 2. Okay, let's start with example 1. It says, what is twice the sum of this and this? Right? Twice the sum of this and this. Now the trick here is just to begin, forget about that part, just begin and get the sum of this and this. Okay? The sum of that. Now, does sum mean add, subtract, or multiply, or divide? What does sum mean? To find the sum of that. Doesn't it mean add? Sum always means add. Okay, so I'm going to go 3 2/5, and I'm going to add 1 3/4. Okay. So, I could just go ahead and add that and get the answer and then get twice that, couldn't I? So, if I get the sum and then get twice that, that'll work. But just for the purpose of education, I'm just going to say, look, the sum is after I've got the answer. Okay, I'm going to get that answer first, you see, put it in parentheses. Then I'm going to get twice that. What would twice that be? Multiplied by 2, right? So this now is writing out twice the sum of these guys, right? But of course, like I said, you could have just added them up and multiplied by 2 at the end. But I'm just using parentheses just for the fun of it, right? Just so we get a little bit of practice. Okay, so now I have a multiplication and I have an addition, but I have the addition in parentheses. So if you remember your PEMDAS order of operations, right? What comes first? What comes first? Isn't it parentheses first, right? Parentheses first. So I've got to add these guys to begin with. So let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to put them as improper fractions, I guess. Yeah, you could. You could do it improper fractions, or you could just add them as mixed numbers. It doesn't really matter. But basically, let's see. Okay, 3 and 1 gives 4. Okay, that was easy. Now we do the 2/5 and the 3/4. Okay. So I'll just do that to the side. 2/5 plus 3/4, and make the bottoms the same, or find the lowest common denominator. So you got to go well fifths. You've got 5, 10, 15, 20. Fours, you got 4, 8, 16, 20, right? Something like that. Oh, I forgot 12. 4, 8, 12, 16, whatever. Okay, but 20, right? They both go into 20. Or in other words, if you just times this guy by 4 and times this guy by 5, then the bottoms are the same, right? Anyway, so times this guy by 4 over 4 and this guy by 5 over 5. And making a little mess here, haven't I? Okay, and I get 8 20ths plus 3 times 5, 15 20ths, which is 23 20ths, and write that as a mixed number. 20 and 23 goes one time remainder. Well, it's got to be remainder 3, so 1 3 20ths. Okay. So this thing, so when I did my 3 and my 1, I got 4. When I did my 2/5 and my 3/4, I got 1 3 20ths. So 4 plus 1 3 20ths is, and of course that was in parentheses, wasn't it? That becomes 5 3 20ths. Right? And of course I've got to times that by 2. So I guess one way to times it by 2 is to turn this into an improper fraction. 20 times 5, 5 20s is 100, so that's 103 over 20, right? And we're timesing it by 2. Can you write 2 as a fraction? 2 over 1. Yep. Now, can we cross cancel? 2 into 2 goes once, 2 into 2 goes once, 2 into 0 goes 0 times. So that gives me 1 times 103 is 103. over 1 times 10 is 10. 103 over 10 is the answer as a mixed number, or as an improper fraction. Now can you turn that into a mixed number? 10 into 103 goes 10 times, remainder 3. So 10 and 3 tenths, right? Alright, let's have a look at example 2. A shirt manufacturer usually buys 3 rolls of cloth, one of 16 1/3 yards and the other of 35 1/2 yards to fill her weekly orders. Okay. How much should she buy to fill 4 weeks of orders? Okay, she usually buys, oh, why did I say 3 there? That should say 2. Sheesh, can't count. That's not good. A shirt manufacturer usually buys 2 rolls of cloth. One roll of cloth is 16 1/3 yards long and the other is 35 1/2 yards long. Okay. So so this is the amount she buys in a week is this and this, right? And then so by all means press pause and see if you can do it yourself, right? So I'll do it now, and the thing is we've got to get the total yardage in 1 week. The total yardage in a week is the 16 1/3 roll plus the 35 1/2 roll. That's the amount of yards she buys in 1 week. Okay. Now we want to know how much she buys in 4 weeks. So we're going to add that together and then multiply by 4, right? And just for the education of it, I'm just going to throw in the parentheses here and do that. Because I'm going to, it's telling, when I do the parentheses, it says, look, you got to add these guys first to get the weekly amount and then multiply by 4, right? But you don't have to do that in your homework. You can just, add these and then multiply by 4 afterwards. It'll be the same thing, right? But I'm just going to throw in parentheses just for the purpose of education, right? So, I could turn these into improper fractions, but it'd be kind of a lot of work actually, because hold on a second, just take the 16 and add it to the 35, see what that gives us. 16, 35, 6 and 5 is 11, carry the 1. 1 and 1 is 2 and 3 is 5, so that's 51, isn't it? So if I'm doing the parentheses first, I get 51, and then I've got to add the half and the third, or the third and the half. So go ahead and add a third and a half together. So lowest common denominator, let's see, we've got 3 goes 3, 6, 9, 2's go 2, 4, 6. Okay, 6 is our common. Or in other words, just to make the bombs the same, times that guy by 2, now times that guy by 3, and they both say 3 times 2, right? Anyway, we need to turn it into sixths. So we've got 2 sixths plus 3 sixths, which is how many sixths? 5 sixths. Okay. So I took the 16 and the 35 and I got 51. I took the third and the half, I added them, I got 5 6. So this is 51 and 5 6, isn't it? And it's 4 times that guy, right? And I guess the thing we were doing with this is when we multiply these guys, we turn them into improper fractions. So write 4 as a fraction to begin with. 4 is 4 over 1. Now write this guy as a fraction. Got to start with 6 times 51. So 51 times 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And then I have to add 5. Plus 5. 6 and 5 is 11, carry the 1, 0 and 1 is 1, 3. So I get 3, 1, 1 over 6. Now, does something cross cancel? I'm multiplying fractions, so it can cross cancel. 2 to 4 goes twice, 2 to 6 goes 3 times. Anything else? No, 3 and 3 goes once, but 3 doesn't go into 11, so we're done there. So 2 times 311 I've got to do, so you got to times that by 2. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. So this gives me 2 times 311 is 622 over 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, so I've got to do 3 into 622. 3 into 6 goes twice, 3 into 2 goes 0 times, 3 into 22 goes 7 times, remainder 1, right? So as a mixed number I get 207, remainder 1, so 207 and 1/3. And what is the units on that? A shirt manufacturer usually buys 2 rolls of that. One roll is 16 and a third yards, the other is 35.5 yards. And then we added those, then we multiplied it by 4 for the 4 weeks, and we got this. Now what's the units on that? It's got to be yards, right? YD for yards.